Hi everyone, this is Cody Smith, and welcome to my live stream about opening up to my audience. The reason I'm doing this is because I want to open up more about my life story as a Christian with a disability and how I believe the existence of disability is evidence for the existence of God and truth of Christianity. And I also hope that by opening up about my life story, it will encourage others to open up about theirs so that we can engage in a real conversation about disability and what is known as Christian apologetics, which comes from a Greek word apologia, meaning to give a defense. And I feel like the existence of disability can be a tool in the defense of Christianity. And the way that works is, metaphorically speaking, let's assume Jesus came back today and was held and was in court like he was before Pilate, and the judge held up the Bible and said, "This is what you and your followers claim about you." So it's either A, you're insane, B, you are blatantly lying, or C, you really are who you claim to be, and we should all bow the knee and submit to you. So let's look at the evidence outside of this and see if it bears you out. So we look at science, we look at history, we look at any and every field of study known to man, such as archaeology, anything, and see what evidence that gives. Does it support it or does it refute it? And I feel like disability could be used as a way of doing that because in order to know what a disability is, know the difference between being perfectly healthy, being injured, being sick, being disabled, or being diseased, you have to have a standard of health, which requires an outside standard setter who knows the difference and decides the difference, meaning they have both the will, the choice, and the authority to set such a standard, meaning by default, this being has to possess choice, strength, and authority, which requires a mind to do so, which means that this being that created humans with this standard cannot in and of itself be human, because if this being made humans what we are and gave us certain characteristics, and this being existed before humans did, that being cannot be human but must be something other than human, but be powerful, intelligent, loving, have the choice, have the strength, have the authority to create humans, and have decided, okay, as long as you meet this minimum standard, then you are perfectly healthy. And if you fall beneath that standard, then that decides whether you're sick, whether you're injured, whether you're disabled, whether you have a disease. And that is what decides, what you have and um, what how it affects you and different things like that, which means that we have a distinction. There has to be a distinction between them, which again, only this being can make that decision, knowing the difference and deciding what the difference is And even when it comes to disabilities themselves, there's not just one category of disability. There is a category called disabilities in which a lot of different things fall under, but there's a distinction because there's more than one disability in the world. There is multiple disabilities, and they have a range of severity and signs and symptoms. So, like mine, for example, is cerebral palsy, but it's not just cerebral palsy. It's called spastic quadriplegic cerebral palsy, which mean and there are different five different types of cerebral palsy, which you can find out more information from what I've used in my book that's called the Birth Injury Justice Center, where you can find more official information about the medical side of cerebral palsy, which I use in my book called The World of Disability, where I go into more depth about the topic that I'm talking about now. And I want people to realize, those of us with disabilities, we are no different than anyone else because even though we have disabilities and it affects how we do the activities of daily living, it does not affect the fact that we are human because we all have the same human qualities. It just affects how we use them in our day to day lives based on what our disabilities do to us. Like mine, for example, was caused by the fact that I was born 3.5 months premature and my blood pressure was unstable and I was very underdeveloped. And since my blood pressure was unstable, constantly going up and down, 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 and not settling and stabilizing, and me being underdeveloped to the point of being basically the size of a baby doll, where my parents had to put basically baby doll clothes on me, then, my blood vessels of my brain were very thin and underdeveloped, and they couldn't take the pressure, so they ruptured, especially on the left side, because each side of the brain controls the opposite side of the body, which means that the right side of my body is more affected by my disability. And so I've had to go through life primarily using my left arm, which has made me have to take, metaphorically take a step back and think things through and do things a lot more slowly, thinking, okay, how could I do this with, one arm and do this in a way that puts a lot less strain on my legs and on my back and things like that. For example, when I would do chores at home, one chore would be unloading and reloading the dishwasher. So I would be thinking, like, if I'm putting away the silverware, like, how could I do this in a way that makes sure I don't drop it, like, drop a knife and accidentally, risk hurting myself? Or maybe I drop a glass bowl and it break and I risk stepping on glass, having to do it a lot slower to make sure things like that don't happen. Or, for example, with my hands being unsteady, one thing I've struggled with is shaving. So, my dad would do it for me because, I would probably cut myself a lot more easily than he would since he has a lot steadier hands than I do since he doesn't have a disability. And that's the kind of thing that I would go through on a daily basis. And I would have to look at a situation and be like, okay, how can I do this in a way that works best for me, and it may be maybe I try the task for a few minutes and I realize, okay, I'm going to need some help with this. So I set it aside and come back to it later. And that's what I've gone through my entire life. Those are my day to day experiences. And it's often been, that's why I feel that disability is evidence for God, because in order for something like disability to exist, you have to have a standard of full, perfectly healthy human ability, which we as humans did not create. We only discovered through medical science. Therefore, there has to be some standard setter that decided, okay, I'm going to create a being called a human, and these are going to be their qualities that separate them from pigs, cows, horses, dogs, monkeys, whatever. And then, you know, this is going to be the standard of them being truly perfectly healthy. And if they fall beneath this, then they're either sick, disabled, diseased, injured, whatever. And there's going to be a distinction between those. And of course, we, again, as humans, did not create this distinction. We only discovered it through medical science and research. And that determines, you know, who has a disability and who doesn't, and which one they have, and its level of severity, and its signs and symptoms. And that also means that, disability points to an external creator of humans that had a choice and a mind to do so and a will to do so, which means that disability points to God. And in order for us to, break down like this and have these catastrophic things happen to us, that means humanity in the beginning had to start off as perfectly healthy, and then something had to happen to us to cause us to break down and begin to develop such things as disabilities, or to enable catastrophic things such as severe brain bleeding and other things that happen to us to cause my disability and other disabilities, even though they are not personally my fault or personally the fault of the person who has the disability. But ultimately, something had to happen to humanity originally in order to break us down and enable things like this to happen to us, which a something like sin, which is the falling short of the commandments of God and the disobedience of the commandments of God, would be exactly, would fit that bill exactly, because that means that He gave us a command, we disobeyed, and therefore we're being punished as a human race as a whole through for having done such a thing. And considering we continue to sin through our free will, which is one of our human characteristics that He gave us, where He sets the rules but gives us the ability to choose to obey or not through love, that is what drives me to believe that that is the ultimate underlying cause of disability, because we chose to obey. Therefore, we are ultimately suffering the consequences through the breakdown of ourselves and the world and universe as a whole. Because if you look at things such as the law of entropy, it says that the universe is running out of usable energy, that means at some point in the past, whether that be thousands or millions of years ago, we had our full amount of usable energy and we are slowly running out of it, meaning we had to start with a certain amount of energy, but that also requires that our universe had to be made and our amount of energy had to be set. Therefore, again, requires a setter and therefore a builder to physically put us together, put our universe together, and supply its initial amount of usable energy, which again would require a being with a mind and choice that's external to us and our universe, and therefore is not human, meaning a all powerful, all knowing, all loving, personal, purposeful God that chose to create and had a plan from even before creating us, knowing in their mind that such things would happen and having a plan of how to fix the problem that would initially result, which would mean if all humanity has sinned and caused our breakdown, then we would have to, we would need someone who has never sinned to come and pay the price for our sins in order to fix the problem that we caused, since we can't clean up our own mess because we continue to sin and continue to fall short. We just keep adding to that price, and it would require a once and for all sinless, perfect being to come into humanity and, you know, pay that price, which, of course, the price is the ultimate price is death, meaning someone who has never sinned would have to come and die in our place in order to pay the price. And that's why I feel that things like disability point to the truth of Christianity and the fact that Jesus died on the cross and rose again the third day to pay the price for our sins, meaning he died the most excruciating, ultimate death that did not stay dead in order to show that he is greater than death, and that even though disability exists, there is an ultimate purpose for it, because an all knowing, all loving, all purposeful God would know, yes, this happened to someone like me, even though it is not personally my fault that I had these ventricular brain bleeds, which ultimately resulted in cerebral palsy. There is an ultimate good reason for it, even though I may not know what that reason is because I'm finite. I do not know everything, but an all knowing, all loving, all purposeful God would, and therefore would see the end from the beginning and know what would ultimately result, not only for my benefit, but probably for the benefit of others and potentially all of humanity, in order that would be the ultimate good result of something detrimental, such as cerebral palsy, happening to me. And part of that may be this YouTube channel and my book and other things, because I'm just trying to open the eyes of those who don't have disabilities to what life is like with a disability, even though I can only speak for myself, because everyone in the world faces some challenge, disabled or not, and everybody in the world faces different circumstances, whether we had the same disability or not. We could have the exact same disability with the exact same symptoms, but our environment and those around us are going to treat us a certain way, and we're going to go through different things no matter what. So it may be same disability, different disability, no disability, it doesn't matter. We're all equally human, and we're all going to face challenges and circumstances and have to figure out ways to overcome them. And it's all going to be unique to each one of us as individuals because we all have our own free will, our own choices, and our own ways that work for each one of us. And that is what I'm trying to stress because disabilities don't affect humanity, they just affect how we use our human qualities because we still have them. They just may be restrained or affected in some way that makes us have to think, okay, based on this situation that I'm in and the way my disability affects me, I have to turn around and I have to take this situation in life that humans typically face and I have to figure out a different way of doing it that works for me personally based on this extra circumstance that has been placed upon me that I had no say in, I have no control over, or anything like that. I just have to take it and I have to use it and I have to figure out my own way around it. And that is what I'm stressing with this. And I hope that this shows that no matter who you are, what situation you're in, you can figure out your own way through it, and no matter what you do, it is not wrong. It is your own personal choice and your own personal way of doing things. And you should not be looked down upon for, a circumstance that you're in that you had no control over. You did not choose to be in, you did not cause, you did not want, and you just have to, take it and deal with it the best way you can. And that is what I want people to realize because we're not wrong and we should not be ostracized or looked down upon or treated differently just because, society does not understand our situation. We should not be pushed to the side just because those who aren't in our situation don't fully understand our situation. And that's the same with anybody. No one should be treated that way, no matter what the situation is. And I hope that someday soon people will realize that. And that is why I'm doing this on social media and I'm opening this as a peer support session for all my lives on Friday, which I plan to do every Friday at roughly 11 o'clock, 11:30 every Friday so that people can talk to me and engage in conversation. And I also, as if you look at my homepage on YouTube, you will see in the extra links section underneath the description of my channel, you'll see a more button where you can find all my other links, and you'll find my Google Meet link where you can engage in a conversation with me every Tuesday at 5:30, every Friday at 12:30, and every Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m. where Eastern Standard Time where we engage in a conversation and you can talk to me face to face and we can meet with each other and really have a conversation and you can get to know me and we can all get to know each other and share our stories. And that's the exact same thing I want to do here on these live streams every Friday at 11 o'clock, 11:30 a.m. because to engage with the public and see what they have to say, share my side of things, and hear their side of things. That's why I'm doing this. And I want to thank everyone for watching. Please leave questions, comments, and anything else in the comment section. And I will gladly answer those in videos and short videos. And please don't hesitate to reach out again every Tuesday at 5:30, which unfortunately I will not be able to do this month because I'm taking a course this month. And but come February I will be able to start that back up every Tuesday at 5:30 p.m. every Saturday at 7 o'clock p.m., which the 7 o'clock will be a Bible study, and every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I hope to see people there, and I hope that we can engage in conversation and enjoy each other's company and really get to know each other and get to know everybody's side of things, whether you have a disability or not. Anybody and everybody who wants to is welcome both there and here. So don't hesitate to reach out. And please like, share, subscribe. And you can also find me on TikTok, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Clapper, which is an American version of TikTok. It's not as big as TikTok, but you can find me there. And please follow me as well. And don't hesitate to leave questions and comments there as well. And I will gladly try to respond to those, whether through message or through a video, because I want this to be as interactive and conversational as possible. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. I will see you Monday for another video. I plan on doing a video on each of my social medias on a different day. So I will see everybody. I will probably be doing my next YouTube video on Thursday, but I will also be doing videos on TikTok, Clapper, and Instagram as well. So don't hesitate to reach out to me there as well. And again, you will find the links on the home page of my YouTube channel when you first log in. I'll happily reach out to anyone, and don't hesitate to ask questions and leave comments, and I will gladly answer them. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.